Welcome back. Thom Hartmann here with you. And Pastor D. Alexander Bullock is with us, founder and national spokesperson for Change Agent Consortium, ActionCAC. And that's over at Facebook/ActionCAC. Pastor Bullock, it is always great having you with us.
Thom Hartmann, it's always great to be on the show. Thank you for what you do.
Well, thank you for being with us. We were just talking with a conservative commentator who was saying that shutting off water to the citizens of Detroit, presumably in preparation for privatizing, selling off the water system, is, it's just the stuff you have to do. You have to make tough choices. What do you think?
Well, it's amazing how people talk about having to make tough choices. They talk about shared sacrifice. They talk about financial stability, but they don't talk about how this affects human beings. Think about a quote from Dr. King where he said, "We can't have a thing-oriented society. We have to have a people-oriented society." When you have seniors in homes whose water is shut off because maybe they owe $150 or less, they are 60 days late or 30 days late. Well, these seniors can't take their medicine. They can't prepare their food. They can't wash their hands. You have homes and families who have no running water. This potentially creates a health epidemic and other health problems. So this is not just some small thing that you have to do to prepare the water system to be sold. This is about crippling people. Water is a human right. And I don't know how people in the city of Detroit get their water shut off when corporations in the city of Detroit or who are part of the system don't get their water shut off. But so it seems if this was something that had to be done, it would be parity. You'd see corporations getting the same kind of shut-off activity as citizens.
Yeah, and not to mention the subsidies that corporations get in the city of Detroit. The free land if they want to build a factory or a store. If a Walmart wants to come in, they get all these tax benefits and goodies, and plus the government will subsidize their workers with food stamps and other things like that. But there's no if it's a corporation, if we're running the money through the corporation, it's damn the torpedoes, full speed ahead. But if we're talking about poor people, there's an all-out war on poor people in this country.
That's right. I'm trying to figure out when poor became a dirty word. When poor became an economic slur. If I can use that phrase.
300-400 years ago.
Okay.
Probably forever.
Because at the end of the day, this is precisely what it's about. If you're rich, you have privilege. If you're poor, you're unprotected. And now firms are artificial people. Firms are super rich. They get tax breaks. They get special privilege with not only paying water bills, but paying taxes that are owed to the city of Detroit. There's a new property tax proposal getting ready to be put in place so that firms will not have to pay taxes on their equipment. And so we're balancing budgets on the back of the poor. We're shutting off water on the poor, while at the same time there was a rate raise. City Council voted to approve the water rate by 8.7%. You have people who already can't pay getting a higher water bill, and if that bill isn't paid in 30 days, they're seeing their water shut off. But at the same time, corporations don't have to pay it all, and nobody's talking about shutting them off.
Yeah. Well, corporations do pay for their water. Or don't they?
Well, from what we can tell in the city of Detroit, they get billed for their water, but it's not clear that there's a collection process where dollars are actually being exchanged.
Oh, yeah.
Okay. They get a tax bill, but it's not clear that dollars are actually being collected.
That's interesting.
I heard somebody say there's no roof for the rich and no floor for the poor, and that seems to be Detroit, the Michigan, and the America we're living in right now.
Now, I mean, you're from Michigan, my hometown, my home state, and the people of the state passed a resolution, passed a law, ballot initiative, saying that Rick Snyder's little emperors, little dictators was against the law. He turned around, and he and the Republicans in the House and Senate in Michigan turned around and got that flipped upside down. It got it back in a way that the people can't stop it again. Where do y'all go from here?
Well, we filed lawsuits. But I'll tell you where we go from here. There's a huge bankruptcy a trial coming up in August, and Judge Stephen Rose is going to have to decide about a number of matters, about pension and pension cuts, about the privatization of city assets, about privatizing water departments. I mean, all of this stuff is going to have to be decided. And so part of what we're doing now is we're organizing because we need to have outcry in the streets. One of the things that people seem to forget is that Dr. King gave a great speech in 1963, and in 64 we got great civil rights legislation, but that's because there were thousands of public protests. There was direct action, civil disobedience, which showed America that there was a problem.
Yeah, you had 1 million people in the streets in Washington, D.C.
That's right. That's right. So we are organizing in Detroit. We're having Freedom Fridays, much like in North Carolina, they have Moral Mondays. Freedom Fridays down at the Water Department. Freedom Fridays at the Bankruptcy Court. And we're seeing retirees and pensioners and city workers and folks who are concerned about the city of Detroit and concerned about this bankruptcy coming together and beginning to raise our voices to say, look, enough is enough. We don't have any political rights in the city of Detroit. We don't have any political rights in the state of Michigan. All we have is our ability to maintain our dignity and to continue to demand that our dignity be respected and that our rights be restored. So we continue to remain vigilant and to organize. And there will be a series of direct actions between now and the bankruptcy trial in August.
That's great. And this is through the ActionCAC network, the Change Agent Consortium?
That's right. Through the Change Agent Consortium, through some of our allies, the Michigan Coalition for Human Rights, the DREM, the Detroit's Resisting Emergency Manager Group, and others. We're all working together. We've come out of our silos, and we're going to build an organization and a thrust that demonstrates that what's going on in Detroit is not just wrong for Detroit, but it's wrong for the nation. Folks can go to actioncac.org, actioncac.org, on Facebook, Change Agent Consortium, and on Twitter, ActionCAC, for more information or to get involved.
Great. Pastor D. Alexander Bullock, you are one of my heroes, sir. Thank you so much for the great work you're doing.
Oh, thank you so much for the opportunity to share.
Keep it up.